The recent spate of kidnapping of students in Nigeria has reached alarming levels, with over 300 students and 12 teachers abducted from St. Mary's Catholic School in Niger State alone. This mass abduction is just one in a series of escalating attacks on educational institutions in the country, causing widespread fear and forcing many secondary schools in the northern region to close temporarily. Authorities are intensifying search and rescue efforts, but the lingering threat continues to disrupt schools and devastating communities longing for peace and stability. To discuss this more, now we are joined by Education Consultant Dr. Peter Ogudoro and the former Deputy Director of the DSS, Dennis Amachree. You are welcome, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Peter. Now, with the recent escape of 50 students and ongoing threats in the other states, what are the short-term as well as the long-term on educational impact for schools, school abductions and closures?
Well, I think we need to recognize that indeed the people who are making it difficult for our children to remain in school and learn actually want to blackmail education, as they have been trying to, say that education is scam and education is evil. And we know that education is not scam, education is not evil. Education is the bedrock of development. Without it, nobody moves forward. And so we have to find a way to get the message across to our leaders, our political leaders especially, because they have what it takes to make to give us the kind of country we all deserve. As we speak, I think that much as we are celebrating that 50 children have escaped, we should know that more preventive actions should be taken rather than sitting down there and waiting for these things to happen. And if we're desperate to take preventive action, to be proactive in the way we manage security, we can make it happen. We don't lack the resources, and it's not just money that we need. We need cooperation with, from all the stakeholders, the communities, the schools, the leaders, the teachers themselves, even the children. We have got people who can provide us information we can use to ensure that the people who are enemies of society do not continue to make us get scared to approach school systems.
And now, Dennis, in terms of security and a security perspective, how do the 50 students that have managed to escape and 38 rescued, and what does this tell us about both the capabilities and limitations of current rescue operations in Nigeria?
Well, even before, thank you for having me. Before I go into that, I am very sad. I'm very, very sad because I think that Boko Haram is winning. They are winning because, remember, the name Boko Haram means Western education is forbidden, generally interpretation. And these people have been able to force the Nigerian, most of the state governments in the north to close down their schools. That means students are not going to go to school again. And that means they are winning because their whole objective is to make sure that students don't go to school. So this is something that is saddening, and I think the government have to take this very, very seriously. We don't want to show any semblance that these terrorists are winning, but that's what is happening. Now, to forestall this kind of situation, we have what they call the Safe School Initiative. The Safe School Initiative is, a plan that is drawn to make sure that students continue to go to school in conflict environments. Students continue to go to school in conflict environments. Now there is a conflict, and instead of putting our school in order, we are closing them down. So these guys are winning. So why are we not trying to put the Safe School Initiative in action? Most of those schools that we are talking about are just bare. They are sitting down, they are waiting. Now, I just showed the picture of the federal government girls school in Buhari. It has a fence, it has a gate, and all schools are supposed to be like that. It is not just the physical fencing. There is also the program where you have CCTV cameras monitoring the environment, and then of course you have a standby or quick response force that will come to the place. And then you also have an input from the community. That's what the Safe School Initiative has told people. But the governors are not interested. All of them are now crying out, oh, this and that. The best thing they can do is to close down the schools, with all the money they are getting. If the safety and security of people is the fundamental, job of government, why are they not doing it? They have more money right now. The government is dishing out more money to governors, and they are not doing it. They are just sitting down there, and when something happens, they say, oh, federal government.
Right. Now,
so this is the situation.
Yes. Because I see you leading towards the government as well. I wanted to shift this question to Peter. Peter, if you can just help me very quickly, how should school authorities and the Ministry of Education balance the need for safety with ensuring children continue learning, especially when closures disrupt the academic calendar?
Well, we live in a modern society, and we must embrace technology. And as we speak, a good number of the schools that have been shut down and asked to go home, in terms of the children in those places, are schools that are run by federal government. They are called unity schools. And as Mr. Amachree has been trying to acknowledge, we are not really as poor as we have always been presented to the world. The money that comes into government coffers, whether it's at federal or state level, a lot of the times a significant chunk of it is misappropriated, into serving the selfish interests of a few people who probably do not deserve to be getting as much as they are getting. So I think that we need to prioritize the education of our children, because if you have this large population, you must recognize that Nigeria, in terms of population, is skewed in favor of young people. Over 60% of our children of people in Nigeria are below the age of 25, and that's huge. We need to reap demographic dividend from this, and the only way we can achieve that is if we keep schools open and functioning. And we must make sure that this happens. And so we need to balance the need for our children to be in school, with the need for them to also be safe, because parents actually don't want to send their children to places where they are always in fear in terms of what is it that is going to happen to them. And if we're desperate, we can work together with parents, with the communities where these schools are located, and with relevant government agencies, and ensure that the right technology is in place. So while we are working hard to get children back to school, let us use appropriate technology. Zoom is there, and we have several other tools that we can deploy. Make sure that maybe in safe homes, we can gather children in these kinds of places and work with their teachers who can deploy learning materials using electronic gadgets, using digital platforms. We are at that level now in the world, and Nigeria should not be left behind.
Realistically speaking now, the devices, in terms of distribution, are we of the impression or of the mind that all of those devices would be able to be distributed to all the students, such that access to Zoom and all the learning platforms for long distance learning would be able to be accomplished, sir?
Yeah, so if you paid attention to what I was saying, I recognize that not every parent, not every home may be able to afford the devices needed, but we can work out an arrangement whereby 50 children can gather in one home, and we project whatever the teacher is trying to say from anywhere in the world on a wall, on a TV screen, and 50 children can gather in that home and have access to the material. Definitely not all children in Nigeria are going to be able to have access to digital devices, but if we work hard, we'll be able to get parents who can afford these things to see it as their social responsibility to provide safe homes, and the devices, the electricity, the other gadgets, including generator, that will power these systems to ensure that we go through this. Just as we went through COVID, we too can go through this, and while the government is working out a sustainable strategy to ensure that these enemies of society are kept out of the school system on a permanent basis.
Now, Dennis, final thoughts for you in terms of the existing gaps. In your own view, what gaps existing in intelligence, coordination, or of course response that allows mass abductions to occur despite all of the alerts?
Well, one thing we have to, put to notice is that, you see, these abductions, we've had heightened adoption now because maybe of the threat from the United States. And of course, they are not stupid. They are also very, very media savvy.
Right.
So they are, in 72 hours, they've adopted more than 300 kids. And what does that tell us? Most likely, they are trying to use them as a human shield in case they are attacked, by the United States. They are going to use the kids to cover up themselves. But I think the government is not still doing what it's supposed to do. These are terrorists who are within our borders. Our military, very trained military, although the enemy is asymmetric, we cannot continue to, play kids' glove with them. No matter whose ox is God, please, let's try and wipe these guys out, because we cannot start planning, do security plans around when they kidnap them, when they don't kidnap them. And then, of course, we are not really prepared for the kidnap itself, because there are a lot of things that we could do. They still kidnap and take ransom. How are we stopping the ransom? The president have said it, no more ransom. Okay, no more ransom. Also, how do we do to make sure that there are no more ransom? How many quick response teams do we have in Nigeria today? It is not after they kidnap them, then we start gathering some police people and say, go and look for them. No, I think we should be proactive in what we do.
Great points there. Thank you so much, former Deputy Director of DSS, Mr. Dennis Amachree, and Dr. Peter Ogudoro.